Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live.
Camera right now. Can you guys hear me? Darn it, this is so annoying. Oh, can you guys hear me? I can't tell if you guys can hear me. Oh. If you guys can hear me. Oh. There you go. I'm so sorry, everyone. Let me see something. I am doing my hair and giving it a little conditioning. So, okay, I'm here. I'm ready to begin. How's everyone's weekend so far? Hi, Stacy. How are you? Yes. How are you, sweetie? Doing a little hair conditioning. Glad to be here with you. I believe I'm on page 114. Page 114. Hi, Mother of Brats, Grand Rising, and good health. And so I don't remember the conversation last week. Usually I can remember from week to week, but I don't remember last week. I'm not going out with my neighborhood neighbors today because my time changed. And you guys are now an hour behind me. And I don't start work now until 10 o'clock, which is weird. So I hope they don't miss me. They will survive. So I wonder where we should start. Okay. I think we ended it clearly on page 114. I'm great. I'm going to contact you for a reading today. Oh, I'm available. Go for it. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Coming, John. Oh, shoot. I don't know where my money is. Oh, here we go. Coming, John. Hi, John. What's the damage today? I know, because of the wind. What's the damage today? 7? Okay, 7 for you. I got a question for you. What's that? Do you do the goat water? Uh, okay, next time I do. What time are we meeting today? 3. Perfect. Thanks, John. Take it easy. Okay, everyone, I'm so sorry. I'm back. I'm not going to breakfast with my neighbors today, but for some reason, some of the men in the complex invited me to I guess it's a birthday celebration. Um, but I think they just want me for my food. I think they're just using me for my food. Um, but you know, you're gonna use me for my food. I'm gonna put my foot in it. So they're gonna get a meal. So at 3 today, I'm going to a birthday celebration 2 doors down, and then I forgot to get cake, and one of the gentlemen was like, I was like, oh, I didn't know it was this birthday celebration. I wish they would have said something. Because 2 of the men had birthdays this week. And then the other guy, he's like, don't bring a cake. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's somebody's birthday. How could I not bring a cake? And then he was like, no, 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 don't bring cake. And I was like, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. We bring cake. We bring fufu stuff. We bring party favors. What are you talking about? Of course I'm going to get a cake. Let me be a girl. Oh my God, what a nightmare. Men are a nightmare. So I'm going to go to the local supermarket and I'm going to get me either a cake or a pie and put a candle on top of it. Because everybody deserves to celebrate their birthday well. That's my motto, and I'm sticking to it. And you guys know how I care when you all say, it's my birthday today. We go all out. Why would I change it for a bunch of boys that don't know any better? Don't get a cake. Shut up. Of course I'm going to get a cake. All right. So let's start on page 114, and the paragraph is my pay. I believe this is God talking. And God goes, my pay, the payoff you get when you work for me, provides a great deal more than spiritual comfort. Physical comfort, too, can be yours. Yet the ironic part about all this is that once you experience the kind of spiritual comfort my payoff provides, the last thing you'll find yourself worrying about is physical comfort. Even the physical comfort of members of your family will no longer be a concern to you. For once you raise to the level of God consciousness, you will understand that you are not responsible for any other human soul. Wow. And that while it is commendable to wish every soul to live in comfort, each soul must choose, is choosing in its own destiny this instant. That is so profound. Do you guys get that? I always talk to you guys like you guys don't understand what I'm saying. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Even the physical comfort of your family members will no longer be a concern for you. For once you rise to a level of God consciousness, you will understand that you are not responsible for any other human soul. I love that. And that while it is commendable to wish every soul to live in comfort, each soul must choose, or is choosing, its own destiny this instant. Clearly, it is not the highest action to deliberately abuse or destroy another. Clearly, it is equally inappropriate to neglect the needs of those you have caused to be dependent on you. Oh, wow. Your job is to render them independent, to teach them as quickly and completely as possible how to get along without you. You are no blessing to them so long as they need you to survive. But bless them, truly, only in the moment they realize you are unnecessary. In the same sense, God's greatest moment is the moment you realize you need no God. I know. This is the antithesis of everything you've ever been taught. Yet your teachers have told you of an angry God, a jealous God, a God who needs to be needed. And that is not a God at all, but a neurotic substitute for that which would be a deity. Interesting. A true master is not the one with the most students, but who creates the most masters. Oh, wow. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hold on a second. You know, I was just telling Lamar the other day that I want for you guys to take over, right? I'm not going anywhere. But to me, the worst thing in the world is to be the everything for everyone and not teach others how to be the new everything for everyone. The worst thing in the world is like, a poor example, but it's like having a piano teacher that is a master that hears notes no one else can hear and that can perform brilliantly, but chooses not to teach them what they know. That's the worst person in the world, right? Because when you die, you take everything with you and left nothing behind. So you might be a great master, a great composer, a great writer, a great psychic, right? You might be great at your job. What difference does it make if you didn't take everything in your soul to leave that part of you behind? Not the music, not the readings, not the script work, because in time, all of that will become obsolete. But when you pass down something of yourself to somebody else, and then they learn to take that knowledge and reinvent it in the modern time that they live in, now you've done your job. Now that's everything. A true master is not the one with the most students, but who creates the most masters. A true leader is not the one with the most followers, but who creates the most leaders. A true king is not the one with the most subjects, but who leads the most to royalty. A true teacher is not the one with the most knowledge, but one who causes the most others to have knowledge. And a true God is not one with the most servants, but one who serves the most, thereby making gods of all others. I love that. I think that we're constantly learning that God is in you, that you are God, and that's a in this book. I mean, and that's a concept that is profound because the church doesn't teach you that. A true God is not one with the most servants, but one who serves the most, thereby making gods of all others. Let me see if I can copy this for someone. This is nice. All right, let me just copy this for someone, send it to them. Somebody I know is teaching today. And what an amazing accomplishment that is. Of course, it is. So it's perfect timing that I'm reading this. The next one. Let me see if I sent them both. Sorry for the long pause. Hold on. Be the God that is in you. Enjoy this moment. Oh. Okay. For this is both the glory and the goal of God, that his subjects shall be no more, that all shall know God not as the unattainable, but as the unavoidable. I would that you could, I would that you could this understand. Your happy destiny is unavoidable. You cannot be saved. There is no hell except not knowing this. So now, as parents, spouses, and loved ones, seek not to make of your love a glue that binds, but rather a magnet that attracts, that turns around and repels, lest those are attracted begin to believe they must stick to you to survive. You know, that's interesting because isn't it in the book of Ruth? I wonder how Ruth ended. I never really got through Ruth. When she said to her mother, the woman wasn't really her mother, she's like, I will never leave you. Interesting. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be more damaging to another. My stomach hurts. So now, as parents, spouses, and loved ones, seek not to make of your love a glue that binds, but rather a magnet that first attracts, then turns around and repels, lest those who are attracted begin to believe they must stick to you to survive. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be more damaging to another. Let your love propel your beloveds into the world and into the full experience of who they are. In this, will you have truly loved. Oh, I love that. It's a great challenge, this path. It's a great challenge, this path of householder. There are many distractions, many worldly concerns. The aesthetic is bothered by none of these. The ascetic is bothered by none of these. He has brought his bread and water and given his humble mat on which to lie, and he can devote his every hour to prayer, meditation, contemplation of the divine. How easy to see the divine under circumstances. How simple a task. Ah, but give one a spouse and children. See the divine in a baby who needs changing at 3 a.m. See the divine in the bill that needs paying by the first of the month. Recognize the hand of God in the illness that takes a spouse, the job that's lost, the child's fever, the parent's pain. Now we are talking saintliness. I understand your fatigue, says God. I know you are tired of the struggle, yet I tell you this. When you follow me, the struggle disappears. Live in your God space, and the events become blessings, one and all. How can I get to my God space, says Neil. I've lost my job, the rent needs paying, the kids need dentists, and being in my lofty philosophical space seems the least likely way to solve any of this, says Neil. And God says, do not forsake me when you need me most. Now is the hour of your greatest testing. Now is the time of your greatest chance. It is the chance to prove everything that has been written here. When I say, don't forsake me, I sound like that needy, neurotic God we talked about, but I'm not. You can forsake me all you want. I don't care. And it won't change a thing between us. I merely say this in answer to your question. It is when the going gets tough that you so often forget who you are and the tools I have given you for creating the life that you would choose. Now is the time to go to your God space more than ever. First, it will bring you great peace of mind. And from a peace of mind, you do great ideas flow. Ideas which could be solutions to the biggest problems you imagine yourself to have. Second, it is in your God space that you self realize, and that is the purpose, the only purpose of your soul. When you are in God space, you know and understand that all you are now experiencing is temporary. I tell you that heaven and earth shall pass away, but you won't. This everlasting perspective helps you to see things in their proper light. You can define these present conditions and circumstances as what they truly are, temporary and temporal. You may use them as tools, but that is what they are, temporary, temporal tools, in the creation of present experience. Just who do you think you are in relationship to the experience called lose a job? Who do you think you are? And perhaps more to the point, who do you think I am? Do you imagine that this is too big for me to solve? Is getting out of a jam too big a miracle for me to handle? I understand that you may think it's too big for you to handle, even with all the tools I have given you. But do you really think it's too big for me? All right, let me say hi to everyone. Good morning, 504. Ta-ta. Hi, Stephen. Good morning, Bree. Beautiful souls, miracles, and blessings to you all. Good morning, Bree. Sweet brown sugar, 504. Must be New Orleans again. Good morning. Bree says, Ruth told me, Naomi, her mother-in-law, that she would not leave her and would go wherever she goes, even into a foreign land. I know, but there's there's a part in the Bible, uh, there's a part in this book where God says it's our job to release our children, right? That we can't have them sticking to us like glue. That when you're a true master, you let your children go and you let them have their own experiences by their own choosing. And that's when you know you trust God or something like that, right? And so that made me think of Ruth. When Ruth was like, I'm going to follow Naomi, I couldn't remember the ending of the story. Because I remember Naomi was like, no, you go. And she was like, no, I'm going to follow you. So I think I get it now because Naomi didn't attach Ruth to her. Ruth attached herself to Naomi. Okay, I think I get it. It's a little different here. Okay, I think I understand. Thank you, Bree. And then Neil goes, I know intellectually that no job is too big for God, but emotionally, I guess I can't be sure. Not whether you can handle it, but whether you will handle it. And that's a really good point. I trust God explicitly, but I worry if God will change my circumstances. And that's like for the first time I'm hearing Neil better, right? I worry that God is like, or that God takes too long to handle something. And I know, it's up to me. I get it, God. I'm not saying you can't handle something. I'm saying, why do things take so long? And are you hearing me? Hold on. Get these directions. Okay, 9 to 11 minutes. Okay. I'll just do it at 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? I know intellectually that no job is too big for God, but emotionally, I guess I can't be sure. Not whether you can handle it, but whether you will handle it. Hold on a second. Ooh. Oh, that looks good. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me set my alarm clock for 10 minutes. Uh, uh, okay, what you guys got to say? Okay, I see, says God. So it's a matter of faith. Yes. You don't question my ability, you merely doubt my desire. You see, I still live this theology that says there may be a lesson in here somewhere for me. I'm still not sure I'm supposed to find a solution. Oh, interesting. Maybe I'm supposed to have the problem. Interesting. Maybe this is one of those tests my theory keeps telling me about. So I worry the problem may not be solved. That this is one of those you're going to let me hang here with. And then God interrupts and he goes, perhaps this is a good time to go over once more how it is that I interact with you because you think it's a question of my desire. And I'm telling you, it's a question of yours. I want for you what you want for you, nothing more, nothing less, says God. I don't sit here and make a judgment, request by request, whether it should be granted. My law is the law of cause and effect, not the law of, we'll see. There's nothing you can't have. If you choose it, even before you ask it, I would have given it to you. Do you believe this? Neil goes, no, I'm sorry. I've seen too many prayers go unanswered. And God goes, don't be sorry. You always say the truth of your experience. I understand and I honor that. That's okay with me. And Neil goes, good, because I don't believe that whatever I ask, I get. My life has not been a testimony to that. In fact, I rarely get what I ask for. When I do, I consider myself damn lucky. And God goes, that's an interesting choice of words. You have an option, it seems. In your life, you can either be damn lucky or you can be blessing lucky. God goes, I'd rather be blessing lucky. But of course, I'll never interfere with your decisions. I tell you this, you always get what you create. And you are always creating. I do not make a judgment about the creations that you conjure. I simply empower you to conjure more and more and more. If you don't like what you've just created, choose again. My job as God is always to give you that opportunity. Now, you are telling me that you haven't always gotten what you wanted, yet here I am to tell you that you have always gotten what you call forth. Do you understand the difference? You have always, now you're telling me that you haven't gotten what you've wanted. Yet I'm here to tell you that you've always gotten what you called forth. So be careful in your limited expressions of the things that you want, right? If you want a relationship, don't put behind it negativity. I want a relationship, but he has to be this, that, and the third. Not that you can't design the type of person to come to you by writing it down, especially if you put through characteristics. If you put they need to have, you know, green eyes, you're going to miss out on a person with brown eyes that has all the characteristics that you called for. If you put down the characteristics of a type of man that you want, and he turns out to be a man from India, skinny and small, but he has everything that you need, why would you pass him up? You know, there's a couple that I follow. I can't remember their name, but I do love them. I think I absolutely love them. She's a big, big black girl. She's losing weight now. Let me see. Am I open today? Yes. Yes. Hold on, guys. All right, let's take a look. Oh, oh, that's what I was looking at. Oh, every time I go on my phone, I get distracted. Oh boy, I'm trying to find this. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me save this. So there's these people that I follow, and I totally adore them. Let's see if I can find them though. I follow 3,000 people. Mm, 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 mm. All right. But in any case, she's a big black girl, right? I mean, like Amazon black woman, right? And she's on her way to losing some amazing weight. She looks amazing. Like I absolutely love her. Not because she's losing weight. I love her personality. She's so damn funny. But today she's on her way to losing weight because she's an internet sensation, right? Can't remember her name though. I'm really bad at that. I'm so sorry because I wish I could remember her name so that you all could follow her, right? In any case, she dates. I don't know if you guys know her. She dates a very, very skinny, I mean, underweight, skinny Asian guy. And they fucking love each other. They look like opposites, but when you see them interact, so fucking funny. So funny. Um, and you could see the love between them. And I love watching them for that same reason, because they are the best in terms of like finding someone and it turns out that someone is your complete opposite visually, but your souls remember each other, right? Now you're telling me that you haven't always gotten what you wanted, yet I'm here to tell you that you've always gotten what you called for. Your life is always a result of your thoughts, including your obviously creative thought that you seldom get what you choose. Now, in the present instance, you see yourself as the victim of the situation and the losing of your job. Yet the truth is, oh, yet the truth is that you no longer choose that job. Do you understand? He lost his job and he's like, oh, I'm a victim. No, the job, the job. And God is like, no, you chose to lose your job. You stopped getting in the morning in anticipation for this job, and you began getting up with dread. You stopped feeling happy about your work and began feeling resentment. You even began fantasizing doing something else. You think these things mean nothing? You misunderstand your power. Your life proceeds out of your intentions for it. Has anyone ever done that? I know I have, child. I know that there has been times when I absolutely hate my job. Absolutely. And I literally will say to God, get me up out of here, right? And I didn't mean for God to make me lose my job. That's not what I wanted from him. I just wanted him to get me up out of here as quickly as possible. I could not stand this job, right? And then it turns out that what I said, the way I said, how I said it, actually led me to losing my job. And I did not want to lose my job. That's not what I asked God. So now I'm thinking, oh, you just misinterpret what I said, right? No, I'm saying to God, please get me up out of here. I didn't understand that what I was saying was creating a negative response. Ultimately, that God was granting my wish, or the angels and saints was granting my wish, and I totally misinterpret the words that were coming out of my mouth. Meaning, I didn't want to lose my job. What I wanted to do was change my job. And that's what I was trying to look forward to. Has anybody else ever had that experience? It goes back to the saying that we all say, be careful what you wish for, be careful what you wish for, right? Anybody else have that experience? I even had that experience most recently, right? Where I was questioning something in my personal space today. And then God gave me something else to look at. Right, Bree? You had that experience, right? And God gave me something else to look at. And God was like, oh, well, let me show you this, right? And although this appeared different, not better, ultimately it brought me back home, back to where I am wanted, loved, liked, appreciated. And then, and I know better, right? Trust me, I know better, but there was just something there where I wasn't questioning God, but I don't know, I guess I was questioning my existence, like questioning my authority, questioning my effectiveness, questioning whether I was useful, right? I guess I was just having a pity party, right? And and I know where the pity party came from, because I think I say to myself, if my son doesn't love me, why should anybody else love me? But I didn't know that it was having an adverse effect on me. And so over time, I guess I was getting depressed, but I didn't know it. And so I was I was asking God. I don't think I was asking God anything, to be honest with you. I think I knew better not to ask God. I totally knew better. Um, but he showed me anyways, because I wasn't snapping back. And the greatest gift is what God showed me. It's the greatest gift. I am so happy today. Like, I get it. Like, I absolutely get it. And I had to learn a lesson, albeit a very different, maybe a little harsh lesson, at least harsh for me, because I don't walk into spaces um, thinking I have to learn lessons anymore. But oh boy, that was a mistake. Um, and I'm back to appreciating God where God is with me. Like, I feel happy again. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but just know that I just went through this, right? I do not make a judgment. I do not make a judgment about the creations that you conjure. I simply empower you to conjure more and more and more. If you don't like what you've created, choose again. My job as God is to always give you that opportunity. Now, you are telling me you haven't always gotten what you wanted? Yet I'm here to tell you that you've always gotten what you called for. Your life is always a result of your thoughts, including your obviously creative thought that you seldom get what you choose. Now, in the present instance, you see yourself as the victim of a situation and the losing of your job. Yet the truth is that you no longer chose the job. You stopped getting up in the morning in anticipation and began getting up with dread. You stopped feeling happy about your work. You began feeling resentment. You even began fantasizing doing something else. You think these things mean nothing? You misunderstood your power. I tell you this, your life proceeds out of your intentions for it. So, what is your intention now? Do you intend to prove your theory that life seldom brings you what you choose? Or do you intend to demonstrate who you really are and who I am? And Neil goes, I feel chagrined, chastised, embarrassed. And then God goes, does that serve you? Why not simply acknowledge the truth when you hear it and move toward it? There's no need to recriminate against yourself. Simply notice what you've been choosing and choose again. Again, I love these words. I feel chastised. I feel embarrassed. I feel chagrined. You know, how many times have somebody like chastise us, right? And then we're like feeling inadequate. Oh, that makes me feel inadequate when somebody chastises us. Or what if we just say, that's a new thought? That's a new direction. That's a new consideration. I can consider something different now. I mean, we're human, right? So I'm not going to stop you from feeling chastised, right? Feeling chastised is a human emotion, but maybe we can respond differently, you know? And then Neil goes, why am I so ready to choose the negative and then spank myself for it? And God goes, what can you expect? You were told from the earliest days that you're bad. You accepted that you were born in sin. Feeling guilty is a learned response. You've been told to feel guilty about yourself for things you did before you even knew you before you could even do anything. You've been taught to feel bad for being born less than perfect. This alleged state of imperfection in which you are said to have come into this world is what your religious have the gall to call original sin. And it is original sin, but not yours. It is the first sin to be perpetuated upon you by a world which knows nothing of God. If it thinks that God would or call, if it thinks that God would or could create anything imperfected. Don't we all struggle with that word perfection? Isn't that something we all struggle with? I know I do. I'm not trying to be perfect, but I know that it's also some form of a struggle not to be, right? I think I struggle with some form of what does that look like for me? And so I spend a lot of my time trying to counteract what perfection looks like for me. Right down to how I find myself dressing in the streets, right? I don't see anybody leaving. Did everybody leave? Usually I see them all leaving. Nobody responded to me today. I had to tell my neighbors I couldn't go with them, but nobody responded to me. Maybe they didn't leave yet. They always leave. Oh dear. One of my neighbors, sorry guys, that's cooking this dinner that we're all supposed to meet up at 3 o'clock today, doesn't have a goddamn turkey baster. I don't know if I have a turkey baster. Also, there are certain things I don't like to share. And that turkey baster is, oh shit, I do have a turkey baster. I have this. Where is the top to it? Sorry, guys. You know what I did? I was telling Lamar last night. I took all of my utensils and put them all in one place. Yep, got a turkey baster. All right, come follow me, guys. They're so annoying. Oh, what did I do with the turkey baster? Fucking annoying. Don't pay me any mind. How do you make a turkey and not like have a turkey baster? It's crazy to me. All right. I gotta wash it real quick. Now I don't want it back. I'm very funny, guys. Is anybody else like me? Just weird that way? Tell them to keep it. Anybody else like me? Just kind of weird. I have a, you know how you cooks know. You have that brush that goes inside your everything. You guys hear me cleaning my turkey baster? It was already clean, but you know how you get a little weird. And let's see. Oh, what do I see here? I will not tolerate anything doesn't serve my purpose. My purpose. Don't listen to me, guys. This is kind of how I talk to myself all the time. And that is spotless. Yes. Now, let me clean the inside of the, which I can't even tell if it's dirty, but we are not going to chance it. And you know what's so sad? I didn't even put on makeup yet. And these guys are bothering me. So annoyed. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. Can you give it to him? Sir. Of course I do. Yes. Why don't you have a turkey baster? The fuck? I'm a girl. Of course I have a turkey baster. The fuck? How are you cooking a turkey but not have a turkey baster? All right. Sorry, guys. Uh, all right. I was gonna go out with my other neighbors. I've got neighbors to the. I think I'm in the center. So in the center, I've got neighbors to the left of me, who are the ones I'm going to be having this lunch with, this dinner lunch at 3. And then I got the neighbors to the wait, no, the neighbors to the right of me are the ones that I'm having dinner with. And then the neighbors to the left of me, those are my old fuddy neighbors. They're so funny. They're oh my god, they're so funny. This is where Miss Daisy comes along. And then there's Mr. Richard. Oh my god. And then they have friends that I go eat lunch with, and they're all in the same age bracket. It's hilarious. And they all take care of me, which is even more hilarious. And so I couldn't eat with Miss Marion today because of this lunch. And then the time schedule changed. So normally I would be here at 9. And when I had my car, I would stay to 11 and go meet them. Um, but without my car, now they take me. But I don't start work till 10, and so I couldn't make it today. And then I had this lunch, and I could have made it, but then I had this dinner lunch with the neighbors to the right. What is happening, God? What is happening? I did not ask for this. I already know, God, I did not ask for this. Oh my God. In any case, my neighbor that is doing a turkey. So I think this is an early turkey dinner. I think. I don't know. I don't know. All right. I guess I'm not making sense today. Am I rambling on? Um, and then Neil goes, why am I so ready to always choose the negative and then to spank myself for it? And then God goes, what can you expect? You were told from your earliest days that you were bad. You accept that you were born in sin. Feeling guilty is a learned response. You've been told to feel guilty about yourself for things you did before you could even do anything. You've been taught to feel shame for being born less than perfect. This alleged state of imperfection is where you are said to have come into this world. It's what your religions have the gall to call original sin. And it is original sin, but not yours. It is the first sin to be perpetuated upon you by a world which knows nothing about God. If it thinks that God would or could create anything imperfected. Some of your religions have built up whole theologies around this misconception. And that is what it is called, literally a misconception. For anything I conceive, all that to which I give life is perfect, a perfect reflection of perfection itself, made in the image and the likeness of me. Yet, in order to justify the idea of a punitive God, your religions needed to create something for me to be angry about, so that even those people who lead exemplary lives somehow need to be saved. If they don't need to be saved from themselves, then they need to be saved from their own built in imperfection. So these religions say, you better do something about this or that fast, or you're going to go straight to hell. This, in the end, may do nothing to mollify a weird, vindictive, angry God, but it does give life to weird, vindictive, angry religions. See, I knew I wasn't wrong about religion. Man, that makes me so happy. Of course, you choose constantly the lesser thought, the smaller idea, the tiniest concept of yourself and your power to say nothing of me and mine. You've been taught. And Neil goes, my God, how can I undo the teaching? And God goes, it's a good question and addressed to just the right person, me. You can undo the teaching by reading and rereading this book over and over again. Read it until you understand every passage, until you're familiar with every word. When you can quote its passages to others, when you can bring its phrases to mind in the midst of the darkness hour, then you will have undone the teaching. Yet, there is still so much I want to ask you, still so much I want to know. Indeed, you began with a very long list of questions. Shall we get back to it? I don't know if I trust that part. I don't know if I trust the part where God says you can undo the teaching by reading and rereading this book over and over again, reread it until you understand every passage, until you're familiar with every word. When you can quote its passages to others, when you can bring its phrases to mind in the midst of the darkest hour, then you will have undone the teaching. I don't know if I trust that. Because Neil wrote the book. I mean, he wrote the book with God. I just want to understand that that's what people do with the Bible. Unless God is saying, don't trust the Bible, trust another form of my words coming through the Bible. All right. Chapter 8. Lyft just gave me a credit of $9. I wonder why. I wonder how long it'll sit there. All right. Chapter 8. I don't know if I'm making sense today. When will I learn enough about relationships to be able to have them go smoothly? Is there a way to be happy in a relationship? Must they be constantly challenging? And God says you have nothing to learn about relationships. You only have to demonstrate what you already know. There is a way to be happy in relationship, and that is to use relationships for their intended purpose, not the purpose you have designed. Relationships are constantly challenging, constantly calling you to create, express, experience higher and higher aspects of yourself, grander and grander visions of yourself, even more magnificent versions of yourself. Nowhere can you do this more immediately, impactfully, and immaculately than in relationships. In fact, without relationships, you cannot do it at all. It's only through your relationship with other people, places, events that you can even exist as a knowable quantity, as an identifiable something in the universe. Remember, absent everything else, you are not. You only are what you are relative to another thing that is not. That is how it is in the world of the relative, as opposed to the world of absolute, where I reside. Once you clearly understand this, once you deeply grasp it, then you intuitively bless each and every experience. You know what? I think I'm going to make some changes today. Hold on, because I really can't think right now. Please put. I can't think right now, and I'm worried. Sorry, guys. All right, where am I, guys? I just did something to take care of me, and so I'm sticking to it. Um, Let me go back. When will I learn enough about relationships to be able to have them go smoothly? Is there a way to be happy in a relationship? Must they be constantly challenged? And God goes, you have nothing to learn about relationships. You only have to demonstrate what you already know. There is a way to be happy in relationships, and that is to use relationships for their intended purposes, not the purpose you have designed. Relationships are constantly challenging, constantly calling you to create, express, experience higher and higher aspects of yourself, grander and grander visions of yourself, even more magnificent versions of yourself. Nowhere can you do this more immediately or impactfully and immaculately than in relationships. In fact, without relationships, you cannot do it at all. It's only through your relationship with other people, places, events that you can even exist as a knowable quantity, as an identifying something in the universe. Remember, absence of everything else, you are not. You only are what you are relative to another thing that is not. This is how it is in the world of the relative, as opposed to the world of the absolute, where I reside. Once you completely understand this, once you deeply grasp it, then you intuitively bless each and every experience, all human encounter, especially personal human relationships, for you see them as constructive in the highest sense. You see that they can be used, must be used, are being used, whether you want them to be or not, to construct who you really are. Once you clearly understand this, once you deeply grasp it, then you truly bless each and every experience, all human encounter, and especially personal human relationships, where you see them as constructive in the highest sense. You see that they can be used, must be used, are being used, whether you want them to be or not. They are being used to construct who you really are, whether you want them to be or not. That construction can be a magnificent creation of your own conscious design, or a strictly happenstance configuration. You can choose to be a person who has resulted simply from what has happened, or from what you've chosen to be and do about what has happened. It's in the latter form of that creation of self becomes conscious. It is in the second experience that self becomes realized. All right, I'm getting a little confused. Anybody else confused with me? I think what I'm hearing though is that, at least a good example, right? One of my neighbors to the left of me died, right? But before he died, I remember he would open his door in the morning and he wouldn't have interactions with people. And his house was fucking filthy. I mean, filthy. And I remember, and dark. He never put the electricity on in that place. And I remember thinking, wow, how is that healthy? How is that okay? And what, in the lack of human experience, how did we get here, right? Because if your house is filthy, you're not going to have people over, right? You're setting that stage, right? And so that's what this passage is telling me, even though I don't think I understood the passage well enough. But I think what it's trying to tell us is that Neil is asking about personal relationships, and God is talking about all relationships and how all relationships are mandated, right? And that it's through any and all relationships with others is how we grow, and that we need that to grow, right? That we have to put in something into relationships. Neil's talking about personal relationships. God is talking about all relationships. But I think if we invest in relationships of any kind, then we can maybe make better personal relationships. I think. I'm not sure. Bless therefore every relationship and hold each as special and formative of who you really are. And now choose to be. Now, your inquiry has to do with individual human relationships of the romantic sort. Right, that's what Neil was talking about. And God goes, and I understand that. So let me address myself specifically and at length to human love relationships. These things which continue to give you such trouble. When human love relationships fail, relationships never truly fail, except in the strictly human sense they did not produce what you want. They fail because they were entered into for the wrong reasons. Wow. Wrong, of course, is a relative term meaning something measured against that which is right. Whatever that is, it would be more accurate in your language to say relationships failed, change, most often when they are entered into for reasons not wholly beneficial or conducive to their survival. Most people enter into relationships with an eye toward what they can get out of them rather than what they can put into it. Is that not profound? The purpose of a relationship is to decide what part of yourself you'd like to see show up, not what part of another you can capture and hold. There can be only one purpose for relationships, and for all of life to be and to decide who you really are. It is very romantic to say, that they were nothing until that special other came along. But that's not true. Words, it puts an incredible pressure on the other to be all sorts of things he or she is not. Not wanting to let you down, they try very hard to be and do these things until they cannot anymore. They can no longer compete your picture of them. They can no longer fill the roles to which they have been assigned. Resentment builds, anger flows. Finally, in order to save themselves and the relationships, these special others begin to reclaim their real selves, acting more in accordance with who they really are. It is about this time that you say, they've changed. It is very romantic to say that now that your special other has entered your life, you feel complete. Yet the purpose of relationship is not to have another who might complete you, but to have another with whom you might share your completeness. Here is the paradox of all human relationships. You have no need for a particular other in order for you to experience fully who you are. And without another, you are nothing. That's the paradox. This is both the mystery and the wonder, the frustration and the joy of the human experience. It requires deep understanding and total willingness to live within this paradox in a way which makes sense. I observe that very few people do. Most of you enter your relationships forming years ripe with anticipation, full of sexual energy, a wide open heart, and a joyful, if eager soul. Somewhere between 40 and 60, and for most, it is sooner rather than later, you've given up on your grandest dream, set aside your highest hope, and settled for your lowest expectation or nothing at all. The problem is so basic and so simple, yet so tragically misunderstood. Your grandest dream, your highest idea, and your fondest hope has to do with your beloved other rather than your beloved self. The test of your relationship has had to do with how well the other lived up to your ideas and how well you saw yourself living up to his or hers. Yet, the only true test has to do with how well you lived up to yours. Relationships are sacred because they provide life's grandest opportunity indeed. Its only opportunity to create and produce the experience of your highest conceptualization of self. Relationships fail when we see them as life's grandest opportunity to create and produce the experience of your highest conceptualization of another. Let each person in relationship worry about self, what self is being, doing, and having, what self is wanting, asking, giving, what self is seeking, creating, and experiencing. And all relationships would magnificently serve their purpose and their participants. Let each person in relationship worry not about the other, but only about self. This seems a strange teaching, for you have been told that in the highest form of relationship, one worries only about the other. Did I tell you this? Your focus upon the other, your obsession with the other, is what causes relationships to fail. It's the extreme worry about others. What is the other being? What is the other doing? What is the other having? What is the other saying, wanting, demanding? What is the other thinking, expecting, or planning? The master understands that it doesn't matter what the other is being, doing, having, saying, wanting, demanding. It doesn't matter what the other is thinking, expecting, planning. It only matters what you are being in relationship to that. The most loving person is the person who is self-centered. What? This is radical teaching. Wow. Mm. You know, one of my clients who I love dearly, she said something to me that left a profound impression. She said that her ex-husband was complaining about his current wife and how she micromanaged him, the current wife. And he was complaining about the micromanagement of him. And he was becoming resentful, pretty much like this book is saying. And ultimately, him and his current wife live in separate bedrooms, right? And he was complaining to his former wife about the micromanagement. And she thought to herself, but then said it out loud, I never did that with you. And I was so proud of her for saying that she fully engaged in allowing him to be whatever he wanted to do in the marriage. They had children and everything, and this is a long-term marriage. And she said it out loud, and she goes, I never did that with you. And he said, you should have. And she said it stopped her for a minute. It kind of shook her a little. And when she said that to me, I was like, that is so mean. Like, he didn't understand you as the person, as the wife. He didn't understand that. He took advantage of the fact that you wouldn't question anything. He didn't understand that you were coming from a perfect, loving place of letting him be him, and that you were not trying to micromanage him, that you as well was taking care of yourself and the children and the household, and so was he. He was doing all those things too, but he didn't have the concept of having a wonderful experience in a marriage and not cheating. And yeah, and that kind of this passage kind of reminds me of her, right? To allow yourself, the way the book describes it, to allow yourself to be selfish enough to not micromanage someone. I hate being micromanaged. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to have to answer to no one. Both my parents are dead. I'm no longer 20, right? I gave my parents a little bit of grace. By the time I hit 20, you don't get to do anything with me. I get to decide everything that I do. And I think it's very interesting that I feel like this my client was amazing to me to allow herself the freedom not to micromanage her husband. And to the point she micromanaged him so little that I don't think she understood how much he cheated. Like she gave herself to permission to just have a really good life and to make kids and to have a beautiful home and to go to work every day. Um, I don't know if she had to work every day, but I'm just saying to go to work. I think she did work every day. And for him to take a wonderful human experience that she was having with him to then say, my ex wife micromanages me and be annoyed by that to the point where you all live in separate bedrooms, you idiot. To then turn around and she was like, oh, I never did that with you. And for him to turn around and say, you should have. That's mean. That's mean. It's just constant. Like you left your ex-wife to go be with a woman. It doesn't matter. My client is a saint. That's all I have to say. Relationships are sacred because they provide life's grandest opportunity. Indeed, it's only opportunity to create and produce the experience of your highest conceptualization of self. Relationships fail when you see them as life's grandest opportunity to create and produce the experience of your highest conceptual con- conceptualization of another. Let each person in a relationship worry about self, what self is doing, being, having, what self is wanting, asking, giving, what self is seeking, creating, experience. All relationships would magnify and serve their purpose and their participants. Well, that makes me like when we go out to dinner, right? And a lot of people do this. Maybe it's not just in relationship. Like a lot of you all do this. Like no one hears the other person talking, even in friendships. Like if I say something like, if I say something like, I had kimchi yesterday, which I did. I had kimchi yesterday, which is a great probiotic. If anybody wants a really good probiotic, eat kimchi. But I can't eat the red kimchi because it gives me high blood pressure. So I eat bok kimchi, which is the white kimchi. I still love kimchi. Like, I don't want to hear somebody say, yeah, I can't eat kimchi. I don't want to hear you say that. I want to hear you process that I ate kimchi. And I want to hear you say, how was that for you? I never had kimchi. How's kimchi? Oh, it's cabbage. Oh, I never eat cabbage. I wonder if I could try, like, use better words, right? Lamar and I went through this where we were talking about, he was talking about, he's so cute, um, beans and bread, right? And I said, I can't eat beans, but I can't eat beans because it has a high carb content, not because I don't like beans. I do like beans. And then yesterday he said something about the beans again. He goes, I know you don't like beans, but I didn't bother correcting him, right? I just let him talk. I just can't imagine. I really can't imagine eating beans with bread. But I did tell him after he told me about the beans and bread, which I thought was an unusual combination, something came across my YouTube feed about how much um, people from the United London, I think, not United Kingdom. No, they said from the UK. Love beans. They put beans in everything, everything. And I thought, isn't that a lesson, right? But I don't remember if I put the beans down, right? I think I just said, I can't imagine that combination. But then hopefully I added, we have it on video, so y'all gonna have to let me know. And I let him talk about what it felt like to enjoy this combination of food. And then on another video, we were doing our ancestry, and he has a lot of UK uh, blood. And he was like, Tracy, that's why I love beans. And I was like, oh my God, I get it. Right? But not to say to him, ew, I hate that or that. Like, no, I love beans. You know, I love black eyed peas. I think that's a bean. Um, I love lima beans. Love lima beans. Love lima beans. Butter beans. I love butter bean soup. You know. In any case, I don't know if I made sense there. Let each person in a relationship worry about the other. Let each person in a relationship not worry about the other, but only about self. This seems a strange teaching, for you've been told the highest form of relationship, one worries only about the other. Yet I tell you this, your focus upon the other, your obsession with the other, is what causes relationships to fail. What is the other being? What are they doing? What are they having? What are they saying? What are they wanting? What are they demanding? What is the other thinking, expecting, planning? The master understands that it doesn't matter the other is being, doing, having, saying, wanting, demanding. It doesn't matter what the other is thinking, expecting, planning. It only matters what you are being in relationship to all of that. The most loving person is the person who is self centered. Thank you, Candace. Candace says yes, because that's pushing their thoughts on you instead of acceptance of your love for a thing and then sharing why that is not their choice. It's an unhealthy way of even learning a person even more. Yeah, I got you, Candace. Yeah. And I find in relationships, people, because I'm a psychic, right? So immediately people have their thoughts about me. And immediately, if you have negative thoughts about me, I don't want you. I'm good. Because once you show yourself to me, I'm out. Once you pretend like something I'm doing is so bad, when I live the most gracious life ever, you don't know that because you've put my back up against a wall and called me a psychic and put a knife to my throat and think I'm going to change. I'm not going to change. Because you want to throw religion in my face or because you don't understand what being a psychic is. For me, being a psychic is amazing. I like me. And so when I wind up with folks that don't get it, I'll educate them because I think everyone needs to be educated. But I won't spend not a near minute of extra time until you decide that you're going to let me be me. And I've got enough grace in you for you to figure that out. But remember, I like me. I don't need you. I'm selfish. I'm happy. This is radical teaching, says God. Or Neil. I don't know which one. And God goes, not if you look at it carefully. If you cannot love yourself, you cannot love another. Yeah, Lamar says he eats beans and toast. I thought that was a strange combo. I know, until YouTube showed me what Lamar was saying. He's like, Tracy, I just love beans and toast. And then we on another video, he was like, has more UK blood in him than most people. And then I was like, Lamar, I saw a video where UK loves beans. So now I get it. Now, if you look at it carefully, you cannot love yourself. You cannot love another. If you cannot love yourself, you cannot love another. Many people make the mistake of seeking love of self through love for another. Of course, they don't realize they are doing this. It's not a conscious thing. It's what's going on in their mind, deep in their mind, and what you call the subconscious. They think if I can just love others, they will love me. Then I will be lovable and I can love me. The reverse of this is that so many people hate themselves because they feel there is not another who loves them. This is a sickness. It's when people are truly lovesick because the truth is other people do love them, but it doesn't matter. No matter how many people profess their love for them, it is not enough. Oh my God. First, they don't believe you. They think you're trying to manipulate them, trying to get something. How could you love them for who they truly are? No, there must be a mistake. You must want something. Now, what do you want? Interesting. I know somebody like that. That is so interesting. Because I kept saying, why don't you accept compliments? Hey, somebody compliments me. I'm like, you're damn right. Somebody was like, you look young, a guy. Ugh, oh my God. He was like, you look young. And I said, I know. And he goes, you know, you know. And he looked at the security guard and he was like, did you hear her? I give her a compliment and she says, I know. And so I responded to him again and I said, I really do know. I know how young I look. And then I was like, maybe he needs me to say thank you. And so I was like, thank you. But I know. No, no, you can't validate me. I've already validated myself when I walked out the fucking house. No one can validate me. I've already done it. It's done. It is. I know. I also know when I look bad. I also know when I'm not feeling well. I know that I look young. And I didn't respond that way. He was like, oh my God, because he had met me before, but he forgot who I was. I reminded him who I was. And he goes, oh my God, you look so young. And I said, I know. Very soft. And he goes, you know, you know. And he looks at the security guard and was like talking about me in front of me. And I was like, no, you don't get to put me down. And I responded to him again. And I was like, no, I really do know. I really do know how young I look. Thank you. But I know. I mean, I took the power back from him. And I was like, you don't get to talk about me. I'm standing right here. I will stand on top of podium. I'll let all you motherfuckers know that I know who I am by any means necessary. I'm okay with me. Are you okay with you? Because you seem to be so shocked to know something about me. But is that a reflection on you, sir? The reverse of this is that so many people hate themselves because they feel there is not another who loves them. This is a sickness. It's when people are truly lovesick because the truth is other people do love them, but it doesn't matter. No matter how many people profess their love for them, it is not enough. First, They don't believe you. They think you're trying to manipulate them, trying to get something. How could you love them for who they truly are? No, there must be a mistake. You must want something. Now, what do you want? They sit around trying to figure out how anyone could actually love them. So they don't believe you and embark on a campaign to make you prove it. Oh my God. You have to prove that you love them. To do this, they may ask you to start altering your behavior. Secondly, if they finally come to a place where they can believe you love them, they begin at once to worry about how long they can keep your love. So, in order to hold on to your love, they start altering their behavior. Thus, two people literally lose themselves in a relationship. They get into the relationship hoping to find themselves, and they lose themselves instead. This losing of self in a relationship is what causes most of the bitterness in coupling. Two people joined literally lose themselves in the relationship. They get into a relationship hoping to find themselves, and they lose themselves instead. This losing of self in a relationship is what causes most of the bitterness in couplings. Two people join together in a partnership hoping the whole world will be greater than the sum of the parts, only to find that it's less. They feel less than when they were single, less capable, less able, less exciting, less attractive, less joyful, less content. This is because they are less. They've given up most of who they are in order to be and to stay in their relationship. Relationships were never meant to be this way, yet this is how they are experienced by more people than you could ever know. That's deep. Why? Why? That's funny, Candace. You just said that's when you hear the question, why me? And the next page on 126, when I turned the page, it's why? Why? Let me answer that. Why me? It's because people have lost touch with, if they were ever in touch with, the purpose of relationships. When you lose sight of each other as sacred souls on a sacred journey, then you cannot see the purpose, the reason behind our relationship. The soul has come to the body, and the body to life for the purpose of evolution. You are evolving, you are becoming, and you are using your relationship with everything to decide what you are becoming. This is the job you came here to do. This is the joy of creating self, of knowing self, of becoming consciously what you wish to be. It is what is meant by being self conscious. You have brought yourself to the relative world so that you might have the tools with which to know and experience who you really are. Who you are is who you create yourself to be in relationships to all the rest of it. Your personal relationships are the most important elements in this process. Your personal relationships are therefore holy ground. They have virtually nothing to do with the other, yet because they involve another, they have everything to do with the other. This is the divine dichotomy. This is the closed circle. So it is not such a radical teaching to say, blessed are the self centered, for they shall know God. It might not be a bad goal in your life to know the highest part of yourself and to stay centered in that. Your first relationship, therefore, must be with yourself. You must first learn to honor and cherish and love yourself. You must first see yourself as worthy because before you can see another as worthy. You must first see yourself as blessed before you can see another as blessed. You must first know yourself to be holy before you can acknowledge holiness in another. If you put the cart before the horse, as most religions ask you to do, and acknowledge another as holy before you acknowledge yourself, you will one day resent it. If there is one thing none of you can tolerate, it is someone being holier than thou. Yet the religions force you to call others holier than thou, and so you do it for a while. Then you crucify them. You have crucified in one way or another all my teachers, not just the one. And you do so not because they were holier than thou, but because you made them out to be. This is the message you have not been able to hear. This is the truth you have not been able to accept. And this is why you can never truly, purely fall in love with another. You have never truly, purely fallen in love with yourself. And so I tell you this: be now and forever centered upon yourself. Look to see what you are being, doing, and having in any given moment. And now, what's going on with another. It is not in the action of another, but in your reaction that your salvation will be found. All right, guys. That was a lot. Usually I can understand the passage that I'm reading, but I had difficulty today. Wonder why. I think I'm going to go back over the pages. I think I started at 114. I'm going to go back over it to see if I missed anything, and then I'll bring it up next week. We are ending on page 127 today. I hope I got in to someone's soul. Candace says, I heard that in one of my relationships, which then was placing me in a position of trying to show him why. I had to walk away because I could not work that hard to make him see what I saw in him. Oh, yes, I've had relationships like that too. It's so exhausting when they don't see themselves as amazing and you see them as amazing. And in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, you're so, like, my part is when somebody is hilarious. Like, oh my God, you're so funny. And then they get mad at you because you're telling them that they're funny. And it's like, no, you're really funny. It's just so weird. And I've had to leave relationships like that too, where I couldn't convince him what I saw in him. I have to look at my grandson, Ezra. He did something the other day. We haven't brought it up again yet because I'm waiting for his self-esteem to go on the ground again. But Ezra couldn't dance for years. And one day he was dancing with his mom on video and he got rhythm. And I was like, oh my God. But I stayed quiet because I wanted to study it. Like, was it an accident that he was on beat? Like, what was happening here? Because I've never seen Ezra with him. It's so funny. And so he literally had rhythm. And so when he stopped, I clapped and I was like, oh my God, what is happening? You can dance. You got rhythm. You were so good. And Ezra goes, we waited till his mom left. I did notice that. And Ezra goes, no, I wasn't. I wasn't good, Dory. And I was like, no, you were. And he goes, Dory, I wasn't good. And I was like, no, Ezra, you were. Oh, we did discuss it. We did. But he got more mad at me instead of allowing me to love him my way. And then maybe about 2 weeks went by, and I brought it up to him. And I said, Ezra, why did you get upset when I was trying to compliment you? And by this time, he doesn't have proper memory of it. And so he just shrugged his shoulders. And I said, Ezra, my job is to pump you up, always. That's what grandmas do. Whether you see yourself in a particular kind of way is not my problem. My goal and want is to see you as amazing. And so when I pump you up, it's not putting you down because I feel like you took it the wrong way. To pump you up is to make sure that you understand at this level you are great, and that's to encourage you to be even better. And so I think you misunderstood why I was saying you were such a great dancer. It was the beginning of understanding that something about you had evolved and changed and grown. And I noticed it. And I said to him, let me be a grandmother. You're right, Candace, and we can't convince them. Like, it's not my job to convince a grown ass man that they are amazing. It's not my job. I'm done. I'm good. I'm good. I'll figure it out. Maybe nobody ever told the man, but if it goes on for too long, I cannot. I'm too tired and too grown. All right, guys. I love you all. Have a great evening. Call me for your own personal readings, 213-458-7408. If you're watching this, press the like button. Hopefully, I'll see at least 100 likes. So, love you guys. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys.